So this guy says, I wish dating could be romantic for men too. And he says, as a guy, it feels like I have to do all the heavy lifting. Witty banter with her, ask her out on a date, logistically plan the date, pay for the date, ask her on a second one. I have to break the touch barrier. I have to initiate the hugging, the hand holding, the kissing, the making out, etc. I have to escalate in a window of time before she loses interest and moves on to her other 300 matches. I'll get to that in a minute. He says, I have to make things romantically perfect, holding hands, walking around the park at sunset, and just so happening to end up at my place after a day of adventures with cold white wine ready. For once, I would like to be romanced. All this crap that happens phenomenally from a woman's perspective is backbreaking from the man's perspective. Well, guy, here's the reality of dating, especially in the first 3 months, is that your job in the first 3 months is to make sure she has a good time and to do romantic things for her. If she happens to do that back, that's actually great. That's a good sign that she recognizes she has to do her part. But I say this because I stress this part, right? Is that for you, what happens with women is that romance just happens to them. You know, it's like we do things that ideally they don't think we're going to plan for them, and that we're doing little surprises here and there. And that makes them feel loved and cared for because it shows them that on our own, we're already figuring out ways to take care of them. And it's important for women to feel that because outside of the dating realm, there's going to be plenty of times that it happens, whether it's like, hey, babe, you know, I'm about to do the laundry and I got it for you. Or, hey, babe, I'm going to the store. I want to know what you're going to get. Or, hey, babe, we need to move to this different location because it's a lot safer for us to live in versus the neighborhood we're in now. Like, women are going to look for you in the lifetime of this to be able to see and feel that you're doing things to actually take care of her. But that starts with the dating phase. So for the purpose of the dating phase, yeah, a lot of this stuff is going to feel like it's happening to them. But during the dating phase, romance can't just happen to you. I'm sorry, it just can't. Like, of the two of you, nothing you do should be a surprise. Everything you do for the woman in those first 3 months should be planned out. You should, I mean this sincerely. Like, I know it can sound very anal-attentive, some of the stuff that I talk about, but like, you need to be going so far as like to plan when you're going to try to do that first touch, or to plan when you're going to take her on certain kinds of dates, or to plan when you're going to approach her for a hookup, or plan like these various romantic things you're going to do to her at certain times, or plan the exact date you're going to get her flowers. Like, these are things that you cannot leave to happenstance. You know, you are going to be planning out dates, locations, times for things. You're going to be looking up menus before you go to restaurants to make sure that you can afford the place and that the meal that you're going to be having there is something that she also likes. Like, yeah, your whole job during these first months of dating is to plan the crap out of everything because she needs to see that you're a planner, and that it indicates to her that you're going to take care of her, okay? But with that said, here's the thing that guys don't recognize, because what happens is that guys that haven't been romanced before, they look at dating as a chore and look at it as like, I'm going to do all this stuff for her, and it's never going to get around to me. And what I have found is that when you are the one that's coming to her and you're inviting her for dates and you're taking her out, you're showing her a good time and you're asking her questions about herself and you're making her laugh and you're doing all these things, her being able to see you do these things and see that you're willing to care for her and show her a good time and treat her well, that now is the buy-in for her to do the same thing back. And what I've typically found is that this doesn't usually take more than like 2 or 3 dates. Like, if you are on your P's and Q's for those first couple of dates, what I find is by date 3 or 4, she's hitting you up to say, hey, I want to take you out on the thing. Or you'll go to like a dinner that you planned out randomly. And then she'll be like, oh, hey, you know what, babe, my treat, you've been treating me so well. I just wanted to show a little appreciation. Or she'll get you a little gift that you didn't think you need. Like, hey, I just got this little doodad at the store. So I just really thought of you. And it'll start out small. It'll come in small things here and there. It won't be like at the level you're doing it. But as you're showing your heart more to her and as she's building a like for you, you're going to find that women, I found, when you get them to that level, they're going beyond, because they'll do things like, hey, you know, I know you're going on a trip somewhere, so I got you this thing for your bag. Or, you know, I know you're going to go see your mom or something like that. So, you know, I just want you to have this thing to make it easier visit. Like, they do stuff like that. That's guys, we don't really oftentimes think of. We're thinking of the tactile stuff like, oh, I'm going to feed her. I'm going to, you know, wash the car for her and this and that. And they're thinking about like life stuff, you know, but you have to be patient. You have to be able to show her early on that you can be romantic, that you can be kind and caring, because she's had other dudes in the past that probably took advantage of her being that way to them. And so she's just making sure that you're going to be able to prove to her that you're going to be on the level that she's going to be willing to show you down the line. But yeah, for guys in the beginning, don't expect a lot of romance. Like, just don't. Like expect for those first 3 months, it is you showing proof. Her version of that is she's showing up on time. She's looking pretty. She's smelling pretty. She might occasionally like chip in for the tip here and there. But for those first 3 or 4 dates, like just don't expect that. Expect that you're going to do that work. And then at the point that you guys, honestly, at the point that you guys hook up and sleep together, you're going to probably start to see a little bit more affection for her, because now at the point that you've hooked up with her, now that's a big buy-in for her. That's like, I've given my body to this guy. But now I don't want to feel like I'm being used for that. So now I got to do things to make sure he's going to want to stay around beyond just me for a hookup. And that's where you'll start to see a lot of the quote unquote romantic stuff come in, right? But I also want to point out a few things here too that he got wrong, because I think guys that are very down on dating or don't have a very high outlook of dating oftentimes put things in these big absolutes that aren't actually things, right? So him saying stuff like, oh, I got to break the touch barrier, and they just do everything and they get everything, and I got to give and give and give, and they just taking whatever, and oh my God, I got to plan all this blah blah. And there's some things here that are inaccurate, at least in my experience. So for one, he says the whole witty banter, like women know that women are great at conversation, so they're just looking for somebody that's going to be able to be on equal pairing with them. If you're putting forth witty banter, most women you're going to find are going to have witty banter back, but they're waiting to see if you're going to actually like have anything to talk about, the part where he says, I have to break the touch barrier. What I teach you guys all the time, I tell you guys that when you go on these first few dates, most women go on dates with guys that are grabby. What you're looking for is you're looking for her to give that soft touch first. And I've given plenty of ways to you guys on how you can put yourself in a position to where it leaves you open for her to touch you first on a level that's comfortable for her. And then all you do is mirror match. If you go on a date and you put your hand across the table like this and you just hold it there, and then she touches your hand, you now know you can touch her hand. It's like playing Zelda. Oh, you now have access to the hand kingdom, And so then she might walk across right next to you and like bump up against you. Now you know her arm's at play. At that point, you can try to maybe put your arm around her. But the point is, she's ultimately going to be the first one that says, hey, touch, you can touch me now. All right. So where guys make the mistake is they've read this whole thing about, this thing they used to call keynoing, where it's like, oh, you got to touch a woman so that way she knows that you're attractive and it's going to make her like you more. And most women honestly are creeped out by that because most dudes do it wrong. Like most women are like, they're going in timid first of all, and then they're like doing this kind of weird touchy grabby thing that makes women uncomfortable. But if you're waiting for, if you let her touch you first, then that can't happen because she's going to touch you at the level that she's comfortable with, and then that gives you a read on where to go and then where to slightly escalate from there. But you got to let them do it first. He says, have to initiate the hugging, hand holding, kissing, blah, blah, blah. Well, again, this all goes back to if you know how to read a woman's signals, then you'll find that she's actually making the first move. Like, for example, the kiss thing, right? If you, at the end of a date, look at her face and you're like, hey, had a nice time, and you're observant of where her eyes are, if you notice that she looks at your eyes and looks down at your lips and looks back up at you, she's saying, kiss me right now. I want you to kiss me. If you can't read that, then you're missing out on something very important, which is she's signaling you as if to say, it's okay for you to make the move. She's giving you permission passively, because women are going to be very passive because they don't want to come across as SLUTs. So it's going to be passive, but she's going to give you that signal that says, hey, do this thing. Or at dinner, she's giving you like these random sexual innuendos, which indicates, oh, I'd be down to do some stuff. Or you get back to her place. Hey, you want to come up real quick and like go to the bathroom, look at some paintings that I have, get some coffee. These are all moves that say, hey, I'm open to hooking up with you. You have to be able to read what they're putting down so you can put down what you got to put down. And yes, when it comes to the actual physical move, that's the logistics that you're going to have to do. But look for the opening part. She's basically, women are giving you alley-oops. So look for the alley-oop. Hey, come into my place. If you get in there, you don't make a move, that's on you, dude. Most women that are inviting you to their place, more often than not, are open to some stuff happening if you are able to look at the signals that she's throwing down and then know how to progress that. If you need help with that, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com and sign up for coaching. Anyway, so I just all that to say that, like, don't look at it like such a burden. You are creating romance for a woman because you're trying to show her that you care for her. And on her part, if you have a good woman that understands the balanced ebb and flow of a relationship, that's going to come later. Now, for you guys that have been showing all the romance for like 5 or 6 months, even with your girlfriend, and that's never happening, then one or two things is happening. Either A, she's not aware that as a woman, she needs to be doing that on her end, in which case conversation is warranted, or also she's just not that interested. And either way, that's a good thing to do. If you're dating a woman and at some point she's not throwing down like ideas for dates or romancing, then good. That lets you know off top that she's not the kind of person. And if that's not somebody you want to be with in that capacity, then find somebody else who does that better. Because there are plenty of women out there, trust me, there are plenty of women out there that will do the things. They will pay for the hotel rooms at times for vacations. They will take you out to dinners. They will get you cards on random days just to say, I was thinking about you. That stuff does happen. Not with all women, but with a fair amount, like more than men would probably realize. But the problem is you have to be doing what you're doing first to display your masculinity and display that you're a protector and to display that you care about her. And you're not going to get that from her if you're not showing it first, is what I'm saying. You know?
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class